watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die.
In many ways, there are a few schemes. Shit, I know model citizens that ain't squeaky clean. You got dirty politicians, dirty judges, and dirty cops. Everyone's on the tape, and let's fill with plots. How we gonna save the community? They question us. It's like a curse. First, police be the first to bust. Criminals, take a look behind the scenes. Corruption and greed is commonplace routine.
Automatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky, fresh. With my body so melodic, this beat rolls right through my chest. Everybody, Martin Poppy came to party. Grab somebody, work your body, let me see you. One, two, step, outrageous, so contagious, make you crave it. Jazzy, baby, so retarded, charted ever since the day I started. Strut my stuff and yes, I flaunt it. Goodies make the girls jump on it. No, I can't control myself now. Let me do my 1, 2 step. Make it like Jello, make the boys say hello, cause they know I'm rocking the beat. I know you heard about a lot of good MCs, but they ain't got nothing on me. Because I'm 5 for 2, I wanna dance with you, and I'm sophisticated fun. I eat filet mignon, and I'm nice and young. Best believe I'm number 1. Make it like Jello, make the boys say hello, cause they know I'm rocking the beat. I know you heard about a lot of good MCs, but they ain't got nothing on me. Because I'm 5 for 2, I wanna dance with you, and I'm sophisticated fun. I eat filet mignon, and I'm nice and young. Best believe I'm number 1. Who goes there?
I'ma put the squeeze in them, quick accounts, and confiscate the gas. They keep on posting this convention every night at D&D. Had chicks on the strip, trace in 83, it's nothing. That's why I know I'm all shut. And I'ma stay here till I breathe, hold nothing. They gon' take their cut, so why should not? Eliminate the middleman who thought they couldn't back over shoes, red jeans, and bring it back to the streets. I never heard me saga when I rap to these beats. As the minutes go by, I can get it in a while. I'm already in too deep, so forget it, don't try. Cause all you're gonna find is suffering today. I had enough of you, man. I'm about to fuck up the game. So speed on, before you get beat on. All I need is more power, and I'ma put the squeeze on. I want more power, I'm getting more Influential men got influential friends, and I'ma put the squeeze on all of them. I watched y'all get fat, now I want my share.
Slavery will not be necessary when the dreamer awakes. Death shelters life in an unforgiving land. Shatterpoint!
Kinda funny when you think. It's kinda funny when you stank. It's kinda funny when you can't. It's kinda funny when you rise. It's kinda funny when you sing. It's kinda funny when I see. It's kinda funny when you pee. It's kinda funny when he, she. It's kinda funny when she, he. It's kinda funny that you're mad. It's kinda funny when you date. It's kinda funny when you're not. It's kinda funny when you ugly. It's kinda funny when it's kinda funny when it's love. It's kinda funny when it's fuck. It's kinda funny when it's up. It's kinda funny when it's you. It's kinda funny when you're late. It's kinda funny when you mess. It's kinda funny when I bait. It's kinda funny when you cheated. It's kinda funny when I speak. It's kinda funny when you give shriek. Kinda funny when I freak. It's kinda funny when I chase. It's kinda funny when you mace. It's kinda funny when you kid. Funny when I nap. Funny when you slid. Funny when it snapped. Funny what I did. It's kinda funny when you start. It's kinda funny in words. It's kinda funny how we promise. It's kinda funny how we curve. It's kinda funny how you're sad. Funny how I'm mad. Funny how I missed this. Kinda funny how it twists this. It's kinda funny how it gets. It's really fucking bad. Kinda funny when you break. It's kinda funny it don't work. It's kinda funny that we think that we're in it kinda worth. It's kinda funny I was wrong though. You never cheated like you said. It's kinda funny I'm an asshole. Kinda funny cause you're
How do we define what's real and what's not?
Faith, mistakes, being awake, woke, broke, use of jokes, smoking weed, provoking our youth with simple creed. How about those high on speed?
This isn't the place or the time.
Remix. This feeling's heaven sent. Found my freedom in the pen. Find out what you're here to do. If you give up, it's your end. It's all borrowed, so I lend. The more weight, the more stress. Aye, yo, okay then, make me show you what I do when I do roll up. Feel like a goon, but see who's tough and I can roll up. Man can't tell you, man show enough. They see the big picture, but I'm a few rolls up. Push that white with a clan, you ain't got a clue, you clucks. Neither do I if you move like fuzz. Roll round with a few I love. Gun fingers, I said you I love. Pick up that mic and prove my stuff. Work the workers, work we touch. I sat down for a year, was on my nose on roll-ups. Kept in touch with a few I love. If you're still in the game, then get your hopes up. It's EMC, yana, yana. Freezing cold when I do my dubs, yana, yana. I make the room light up, yana, yana. Instrumental wind up, I'm me, cause how can I not be chopped from? Like 06, I've been feeling blocked. Know about fate, I don't know about love, but I'm catching on, see my ideas rough. It's EMC in the sound system. Any of mine will outmix them. Man, when I come up lying, then I show when they die in alliance. And I tell man for free that I'm meant to be. And I know my things inspiring, cause man jump on a mic and sound like me. He don't believe his cheese or wheat. Step all over your toes and cleats. Hustle out here cause man don't teeth. I'm good when karma does come for me. I show love but I don't show trust. If it all falls down, it'll fall on me. But it won't fall down, it's all on me. I may need this cheated week, I need that beat. Chop that peak, they can't breathe without their beaks. I do sin, I can't preach. Could be him but I'd run for me. Don't wanna live in a suit and noose. I need to breathe, that's not me. Don't wanna wait till the horns and hooves. Close my eyes on my conscience clean. This feeling's heaven sent. Found my freedom in the pen. Find out what you're here to do. If you give up, it's your end. It's all for all, so I original. Rocking the music. Rocking the music. Rocking the music. Rocking the music. This is original. Rocking the music. Rocking the music. Rocking the music. Rocking the music. This is original.
foreign airspace, thereby we cannot mitigate. Actually, a very small percentage actually incur into the United States. So, for example, in the southwest border, only 5% of that large number actually affected an incursion. Of that, we have very strict criteria, and they met the criteria. So the 60 that we mitigated in FY24 actually met the criteria for mitigation.
So I'm going to ask about both the 5% and the 95% then. So in the 5% that do come into our airspace, is the criteria too narrow, to bring them down? Why again, so few?
Well, again, one of the things that's notable here is that those are not 2,500 unique identifiers. You have repeat offenders, so we take down or mitigate one drone. Of that large number, that could be responsible for hundreds of those detections.
So these are events, not necessarily individual drones, these statistics.
That's correct.
Okay. So on the 95%, or really I guess 100%, even if you don't have the authority to bring them down, those that are over foreign airspace, do you still have the ability, the technological ability to track where the operators are and to alert the Mexican or Canadian authorities as to where the operators are? And can you explain what that process is like? Absolutely.
And we do communicate directly with our foreign partners, and our communication is healthy, our sharing of information is healthy. And so what you just described is exactly what we do.
And is it working? Does it happen? I mean, when you notify Mexican authorities, for example, that, hey, we've got a drone and we know where the operator is, I mean, are they pursuing the operators? Do you have success stories? Again, are there gaps that need to be filled in that process? Can you elaborate?
Well, again, we have to rely on so in the case of Government of Mexico, we have to rely on our Mexican partners to respond. A lot of times these are in areas that are not highly populated. They're very difficult to get to. They're also controlled by cartels. So by the time law enforcement responds, it's very challenging for them. It's not from lack of effort or lack of communication. It's just a very difficult environment.
With the minute that I have left, I'll shift to Mr. Weekman. On the issue of special events, of SEER events, can you just elaborate a little bit more about why it is so important that the state and locals have expanded authorities, and what should the appropriate guardrails be, for those expanded authorities?
Yes. Each year, the FBI can cover a number of special events, and DHS covers some as well. So we're talking about big events like the Super Bowl, the World Series, the Indianapolis 500, that sort of thing. But obviously, those are not the only events that could be subject to an attack or a drone threat. You have many other football games, baseball games, soccer games, the World Cup, and if you add them all up, just focused on sporting events, even forgetting about, New York Times, New Year's celebration, there's all manner of events. So we can only cover a tiny fraction of those in any given year. And so if Congress gives the authority to state and locals to engage in the same activity, that vastly expands the scope of what counter-drone protection.
I'll just note for the record, thank you. I understand the need to expand that authority for the state and locals for these special events. I will just highlight, though, I think training is going to be very important in this, because there are plenty of people who fly drones at, high school football games and stuff for legitimate reasons. And we'll just need to make sure that the state and locals have the training to know how to kind of go after the bad guys without overly penalizing the good guys. But I take your broader point.
Absolutely.
I yield back.
That's a big part of it, the training.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Jimenez, for his.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that we face significant threats now from the technology that we have right now, but right around the corner, if not already here, is AI. And so some of the techniques that we use to mitigate current drones won't work on AI because they won't be piloted. They'll be just given a mission, they'll be given parameters of what to hit, and they'll hit it by themselves. They don't need to be piloted. Do we have any capabilities to actually go kinetic, actually knock these things down, either through some kind of a projectile or with high energy that fries the systems? Do we have any of that available anywhere?
Thank you for the question. So without tipping our hand to our adversaries, I think it would probably be best, and we'd look forward to providing you a detailed briefing on our capabilities and where our heads are at and we share your concern.
Yeah, because I think that not only concerns me in as far as Customs and Border Protection and our personnel, but also airports, large events, et cetera, where these drones can be used for really destructive purposes. And so I'm really, really worried about that. Mr. Jones, you said that you had legal authority to disable, to mitigate drones in certain areas. We have about a 2,000-mile-long border. So those areas, how many miles of the 2,000 do you actually have the authority to mitigate these drones?
Chairman, again, we're starting to get into an area I'm not comfortable with in an open forum, but we'd love to dock those details with you behind closed doors.
I take that to mean there's not too many miles, okay? So that's fair enough. Have you seen any kind of, we know that the cartels, especially the Mexican cartels, are working with the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party. The CCP provides the chemicals to the cartels who then produce the fentanyl that's killing thousands of Americans every single year. Do you see any link between, we see that link, do we see any links between the CCP, China, and the drones, the technology that's being used to surveil our border, and it's being used to help the cartels in their quest to transport people, drugs, guns, everything into the United States?
It's no secret that the preponderance of the UAS technology is manufactured in China, and the cartels are using that very technology. We share your concerns. There's a reason why we don't use Chinese drones. And whether they knowingly or unknowingly are potentially collecting information for the government of China.
That's it. That's all the questions I have. Thank you. Yield back.
Gentleman yields. The chair recognizes Mr. Tanadar for his question.
Thank you, Chair Fugger. The operation of CUAS technologies to intercept drones is sensitive, as it generally requires seizure of property without a warrant. To do so, CUAS technology operators must hack into the signal used to control the drones, which often involves hacking into operator's cell phone or computer. As such, Congress has waived certain wiretapping and other privacy protections for agencies to carry out these activities. As DHS and DOJ have began to operate CUAS technologies, what have your agencies done to formally enshrine protections for privacy and civil liberties? Any one of you?
Sir, I can speak for the way that the FBI conducts the mission. We're very sensitive to those concerns. The information that is captured electronically from our technology that we use is just the information that has to do with the control of the drone, the flight, the telemetry data, if you will. Even if it is being operated by a personal device like a cell phone, for example, the technology that we use does not capture any other information from there, and we're very sensitive to how that is collected. And whatever that information that we collect, we don't maintain it if it's not threat, if it is not part of a case. If it is part of something that we investigate, then our regular guidelines of legal process and how we would maintain evidence apply. But we're very sensitive to privacy concerns and making sure we get it right and do it correctly.
All right. Thank you so much. Congress is currently considering authorizing a pilot program for state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement agencies to operate CUAS technologies. Expanding these authorities must be done carefully, as doing so requires waiving wiretapping protections and other critical protections to place to protect privacy and civil liberties. How can we ensure the operation of such technologies, potentially by a large number of law enforcement agencies, will be closely coordinated with and overseen by federal authorities? Mr. Wigman, most critically, how can we protect privacy and civil liberties?
Thank you for the question. So if the pilot program, the state and local pilot program that you mentioned is adopted, there would have to be, the law would require training for all state and local officials. It would also require them to follow the same procedures that my FBI colleague just mentioned in terms of the type of technology they can use, the type of data that they can collect, the rules of engagement, what type of facilities they can correct. So if they do it safely, they'd have to work with the FAA. All of their activities would have to be approved by DHS and Department of Justice working with FAA. So it's quite a labor-intensive kind of process that we're envisioning under the state and local pilot program to basically get state and local authorities up and running so that they can mirror and do the same things that we do at the federal level. And that includes protecting privacy and civil liberties.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Weigman? Or
It's Wigman.
Wigman.
Yeah.
Mr. Wigman, I want to bore into this just a little bit more. So, and some of the questions have indicated and the answers indicate you got to be careful about revealing specific technological things. But I noted one thing when you were testifying, you said that the reason you need expanded authorities, I believe I got this right, is that the effective technologies to deal with this could violate laws on intercepting aircraft in flight and intercepting transmissions. Did I get that correct?
That's right.
And maybe you could just help me understand a little bit better. If you've got like a mass spectator event, which is one thing that's been raised, it seems to me, how do you have and you've also said, several of you have made the point that, how you intercept data to prevent intruding on privacy and only certain types of data. And I must tell you, that has a sophistication level I don't really understand. Why not just have a rule that anybody who flies a drone near a mass spectator event, the drone's going to be destroyed in the air? Is that something that it'd be hard to do? And then why do you need to intercept data in order to do that? If the object is there, destroy it.
So it's a good question. I think the way it works, as I understand it, and my colleagues can talk about this operationally, if you had, let's say, a football game, and you would have a perimeter, it would be declared as a temporary flight restricted area.
Okay.
So around that, you're going to have a buffer zone. You have an area where it's a no-go, and then you have a larger area around that where you might want to detect what's flying, and then you have a larger area around that where you might be tracking, but regular commercial drone use is okay. And so as they're getting closer and closer to the facility, you're detecting originally the signals to see what is that drone. You're trying to identify the drone. Oh, is that a UPS? Is that
like a long distance radar or something like that?
Exactly. So is that a UPS drone that's just delivering a package somewhere? Let it go on its way. Is it getting closer right into the zone where you're going to have to do something against it? So it's kind of a calibrated thing, and as you get closer and closer, then that's where you take the opportunity to use the technology to jam it. Is most frequently rather than destroy the drone. You're interfering with its navigation in a way that confuses it and requires it to land. And that's what they do in these scenarios to make it land somewhere, rather than it's not the same as shooting it out of the sky, is my understanding of how it works. You're instead using electronic things to bring it down. So that's essentially how it works.
Is the technology, and I've always been curious about that. I've asked that, first time I asked it in a hearing a couple of years ago, there was a Twitter of laughter throughout the room about naivety of thinking you could destroy the thing in the air, and I guess maybe if it leaves debris to fall or something, I could understand.
It could be dangerous also, I think.
Yeah.
If you were just to kinetically destroy it, I imagine there would be some hazards with that.
Should the average person looking at this, or the average congressman trying to understand it, believe that these technologies where you can use electronics to force the device to land are successful or have a high degree of reliability? Maybe I'll direct that to Mr. Jones.
So there's also non-destructive kinetic capabilities. So one thing from a law enforcement perspective we have to remember is that if we can capture a drone, there's a forensic capability that allows us to glean information.
Yeah.
And so that's important to us, as well as avoiding or minimizing any collateral damage. We have to be very careful in any application of force in public areas. Responsible law enforcement, first do no harm.
Is any witness able to testify? Because what you've essentially laid out is we've had a series of short-term reauthorizations of what you had, the authorities that now exist, and the issue is you want to expand the authorities, and I have concerns, especially after a variety of ways in which I think government authority has misused power to intercept information or learn information about the American people, and has gone too far. What are the, can anybody describe what the hesitancy is and why they're not significant, or why they should be overruled and proceed with this expanded authority? You're with me?
Hesitancy in adopting the expanded authority, or?
Yeah.
That's kind of hard for us to answer because we support expanding the authority, but I think that it's important to recognize when you talk about intercepting signals and so forth, as I mentioned in my opening statement, as Assistant Director Wheeler just mentioned, the types of signals that we're getting are the same types of information that is actually required to be broadcast, that anyone can pick up with a drone today, as the FAA's rules. So we're not talking, there is I guess a privacy interest, but it's the same type of information that we're now requiring, and it's a new regulation, but requiring drones to broadcast so that anyone can pick up, because it's really just about the communications between the drone and the controller, so that we can figure out where is that person, what's the registration, what's the model, how do we deal with it. So I think that the privacy interest is limited.
My time has expired. Thanks very much. I give up.
Gentleman's time has expired. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank the gentleman or witnesses for being here today. Very timely issue for all of us, I think. Your testimony and the questions show that a little bit of a tension here between private property, private rights. But I think the bigger one here is protecting public safety. A couple of times back home, I had the chance to see some drones flying over my house, looking in my backyard. Frustrating, angry, didn't have any kinetic weapons with me, so they came and went. But on a serious note, I'm home to Disneyland. Worldwide, it's still viewed as an American private enterprise symbol. I've got the Anaheim Ducks Arena, OC Vibe that's being built right now, the Anaheim Ducks, SoFi Stadium nearby, World Soccer Cup coming to our area very soon, Olympics coming soon. So target-rich environment, so to speak. And what you're saying, Mr. Rigman, specifically, you said that federal government does not have the bandwidth to really protect all of these sites, yet we're still not at a point where we can share the authority information with state, local, federal authorities. And I hope you don't have to wait for a federal law to be passed to get there. My local sheriff in Orange County has a fusion center. Fusion centers exist across the nation where federal, state, local, FBI, every agency collaborate, share information. Because when it comes to these drones, time is of the essence. Authority to neutralize these things is of the essence. And I guess my question to each and every one of you, starting with Mr. Jones, do you know of any efforts right now to coordinate with our locals to begin sharing, creating the local authority to be more effective at protecting our citizens? Mr. Jones.
I can speak broadly and just outside of just county UAS. We are working with our federal, state, and local partners on a daily basis. It's counter fentanyl, counter UAS, just general public safety. They're our partners. We're all on the same team.
I'm glad
we need the authority. We need the authority to designate select state and local law enforcement, and then with approved equipment, just like my colleagues
We
stated.
need a federal law.
Yes, we do.
Some of us here could probably do something like that, Mr. Chairman. Hope we can also, I didn't hear it, I know Mr. Jimenez talked a little bit about Mexico, cooperation, any there? This is something that deals with both sides of the board.
Like I stated earlier, our relationship and our information sharing with Mexico is healthy. both at the local level through the U.S. Border Patrol Foreign Operations branches, as well as our communications with Mexico City.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wheeler, same question to you. Do you know of any efforts to coordinate past laws to help us work with the locals to protect our citizens?
Sure. I would illustrate as maybe a good example for the situation in New Jersey and our Newark division we talked about earlier. The FBI Newark JTTF comprised of a lot of state and local officers that work on JTTF or our people that are actively investigating this matter.
Are there any efforts to pass legislation that you're aware of to give the locals the authority to neutralize, monitor these aerial vehicles?
Well, that's not my purview for the legislation, but I can certainly support capacity building for
Mr. Wigman, my last 30 seconds.
That's what we're here for, Congressman. There's a Senate bill, there's a couple of House bills. All of them, to different degrees, would provide additional authority to the states, both at a minimum to do detection only, and then on a pilot program
Beyond those bills,
mitigation as well. So that's what we're here for.
Beyond those bills, any other authorities that are needed to be vested in the locals to do their job?
I think those bills are where we should focus, and coming up with something that's will work.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm out of time. I yield.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. It's been referenced that there are federal laws against intercepting aircraft or intercepting communication signals, and it's been cited today regarding the absence of a specific federal law authorizing local law enforcement to use existing technologies to mitigate against an unmanned aerial system threat or a drone threat. Let me say that, Mr. Chairman, I believe the 10th Amendment already extends such rights to the sovereign states, and let me say that the current law, the current federal law that authorizes specific federal law enforcement agencies to use existing and emerging technologies to mitigate against unmanned aerial systems. Yes, that authorizes those specific federal agencies to deploy that technology, but in no way does a current law prohibit the rights of the sovereign states to authorize their own state and local law enforcement to use existing technologies and emerging technologies in a law enforcement capacity. Mr. Wiegman, is it against the law for one American to strike another American? Yes, it is. It's not a trick question, is it? Is that against the law?
Obviously it depends on the context.
Of course, there's a general law against that.
Yeah.
But is it allowed for a law enforcement officer who has probable cause to detain you or arrest you? Is it allowed for him to strike you in order to effect that arrest? Yes, of course he can. Is there a law against me crashing my car into yours purposefully? Yes, there is. With Mr. Jones, are you familiar with the pit maneuver? Of course, law enforcement has been using this for decades. We use our vehicle to crash into a suspect vehicle in a particular manner reflective of our training in order to effect the arrest. We're using the current training standards and the technology of our vehicle that we have deployed to effect that arrest. That's not a vehicle crash. It's a law enforcement action. That's broadly known. Everyone knows it's against the law for one American to shoot another one. But a law enforcement officer, in order to effect arrest, if he needs to escalate to lethal force, we know a law enforcement officer has that authorization through federal and state laws. So, yes, there's plenty of laws. You guys love to cite these laws that exist so we cannot intercept an aircraft. We understand that. But if intercepting the aircraft is a law enforcement action, which using existing technology to mitigate against an unmanned aerial threat, Mr. Chairman, these technologies exist, and absolutely our local and state law enforcement entities should have access to the same technologies that we seem to be very protectively reserving for only select federal agencies. So, Mr. Jones, you had stated earlier, good sir, and thank you for wearing the badge, my brother. You had stated earlier that yes, you're deploying these systems, but please clarify for America that there are great restrictions on actually deploying the technology to land a drone. You're using the technology primarily to track criminal drones, but you're not using that technology primarily to land drones, which is what the technology does. Am I correct in that assessment or not, Mr. Jones?
Well, both are true. We are using technology to track the drones. We are also using technology and electronic means to intercept and land the drone at a place of our discretion.
And give us the numbers by percentage. If you track 100 drones, how many are you landing?
Well, like I stated earlier, for FY24 Southwest border, we actually landed 60 of them, mitigated 60 of those aircraft.
60 of the 45,000 that you encountered? Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying. You're using the technology to track, but you're not using the technology to fully mitigate. So this is what we've been talking about for a year, Mr. Chairman. This technology, by 10th Amendment right, belongs to the sovereign states, and they should be allowed to fully deploy it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Chairman. And, sometimes I feel like I'm in the twilight zone up here. Like month after month, people come before us, they testify, and you don't get a lot of answers. And it's concerning, it's frustrating. You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are. You're telling me that a lot of these, Mr. Jones, you're telling me that 95% of these drones along the U.S.-Mexico border, we can't interact because they're not in U.S. territory?
That is correct. A large proportion of them stay in foreign airspace.
I'll tell you what, there are a lot of Americans that are very frustrated right now that are essentially questioning where are my taxpayer dollars going? You know, this Doge craze that's kind of starting to take hold, this is very real. I mean, this is going to come. People are going to have to come before the carpet, and they're going to have to explain every single line item. What do you do here? What does this get? And so let me ask a very specific question. Mr. Wheeler, how much of the FBI budget goes towards counter-UAS?
So the technical part of operational budget that I have within the critical incident response groups, just less than 500,000.
500,000? That's nothing. Well, why is it so low?
Well, I don't.
And I wonder we don't know what the hell is going on. 500,000.
So that number doesn't capture the FBI Newark investigation, for example. The budget allocation for what we're doing investigatively is not captured in that number, but for the technology we use and the way we deploy it, just under 500,000.
We want to help you. I mean, this is a committee. The chairman's putting this together because we want to know these topics. So the American people deserve to know the truth on this, and we also deserve to have actions on it. And if it's a budget issue, no problem. But it's also what is our money getting us? Clearly, not a whole lot. And something needs to change, though. I'm trying to figure out what that something is. It just, month after month, it's the same old, same old. From a CBP standpoint, Mr. Jones, do you know what the current budget of CBP is for counter-UAS?
I can tell you that direct appropriations for counter-UAS was zero last year.
Zero? So
CBP took it out of Hyde. and we will continue to take it out of hide. Now, I can't tell you exactly what that number is. I have a general ballpark, but we can discuss that. I provide that as a get back to you.
Another committee that I sit on is appropriations. So I see a lot of things through the lens of dollars and cents. If you're putting zero on the board, you're probably not going to get a lot of success. And it's not fair. A lot of people talk about the border. I represent the border, nearly half of the southern border. I've been out there with these agents in the middle of nowhere that are essentially alone and unafraid, making do with what they have. It's not fair to them, and ultimately it's not fair to us to have them combat against some of these drones that are happening with a zero budget. I mean, it's just madness. So I guess I have other line of questioning, but I don't want to embarrass anyone. I would just say I would be very interested in partnering up and figuring out what we need to do in order to find and answer some of these questions. What resources do you need? The technology's already out there. Drones, this isn't new. Drones are 100 years old. This isn't state of the art. Drones are old technology. The fact that we don't know what's flying in our airspace is only the tip of the iceberg, what's to come. We have to fix this. And I want to partner up to fix this. Part of that is finding out the proper resources you need, training, authorities. I get the authorities piece, but it's a cradle to grave type of situation. It cannot just be, the answer can't be we don't know. And the answer can't be zero. I mean, we got to do better than that. And if we don't, I suspect not good things will happen. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming before us and testifying. I look forward to partnering with all your agencies. I yield back.
Tillman yields. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. D'Esposito.
Thank you, Chairman, and I sort of feel the same way as my good friend, Mr. Gonzalez. This is like deja vu. We've been talking about this for a long time and seems to be not getting much answers. I mean, the chairman and I visited New York City probably close to 2 years ago. We met with the leadership in the NYPD. It was probably one of the most rapidly growing drone use in the country. And my vision on jurisdiction of taking down drones may be different from others here. But first, I think it's important to quickly focus on stuff back at home. I mean, these drones over New York and New Jersey, flying over critical infrastructure, flying over some of, whether it's the Verrazano Bridge or others, I mean, I have to agree with my colleagues. The fact that we continue to say that we don't know what they are, we don't know what they're doing. I mean, the American people are looking at us and they think that we're lying to them because they think, how could you possibly not have answers to drones flying over some of the most critical airspace in the country? So, I mean, if we're expecting the American people to believe in the information that we're giving them, I think we do need to do better. And that's none of your fault. I mean, the fact that there's only a $500,000 in drone expenditures appropriations. I mean, that's absolutely insane, and I hope that it's something that my colleagues work on. But as many have as already pointed out, drones continue to rapidly advance and become more readily available. Along with the expansion, threats from drones being used by bad actors have only increased, as all of you have mentioned. Right now, counter-UAS authorities are restricted from local law enforcement agencies, leaving it largely in the hands of federal agencies. So, Mr. Wigman or Mr. Wheeler, very simple questions. Do federal agencies have the ability to assist local law enforcement agencies with their counter-UAS capabilities everywhere and every time it's needed?
Not today. That's what we're seeking from the Congress.
Yep.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Are there events and places that would benefit from counter-UAS capabilities that federal agencies are simply not able to cover?
Absolutely. There are.
Yes.
All right. In your submitted statement, you both said, quote, we need to empower state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement agencies across the country, which are primarily responsible for keeping our citizens safe at the local level, to take the steps needed to protect their communities from the emergency threat. This past year, right in my district, in the middle of my district in Nassau County, we hosted the 2024 International Cricket World Cup, including the India-Pakistan match. While there were drone-related threats from ISIS ahead of the tournament, the federal government was only able to assist with their counter-UAS capabilities for a small portion of the tournament. What is the current impact of local law enforcement not having these authorities? And I'll leave that to any of you.
Well, I think that's the main thing is capacity. We need more capacity to be able to do the mission, and we strongly support state and local jurisdictions having that capacity and authority and ability to help.
Right. And I think I'm sorry, Mr. Woodman, I didn't mean to.
No, that's right. And just to answer your question also, Mr. Congressman Gonzalez as well. I mean, I think all of us on the panel share your view that we need to do more and more resources. If we do get the authorities, we will certainly need more resources. Even if state and locals are doing it, that will require training and additional work and approval on our end. So more resources, more authorities, those are all things that we would support.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point down and to spread the message, because I think there's a lot of false information being spread about law enforcement agencies trying to say that, well, they don't want this added enforcement. They don't want to take on this responsibility. I mean, we had a hearing in this room just hours ago where the commissioner of the Nassau County Police Department, Patrick Ryder, was here, and he has been advocating in his position as commissioner, as his position as a member of the Major City Chiefs, that this is something that local law enforcement agencies, not only do they need it, they want it. And I think that we have the opportunity throughout this country to make sure that law enforcement agencies, there is some sort of consolidation. There are many law enforcement agencies that border one another that could help each other deal with this, I'll call it a burden, but this added burden. But they're willing to do it. Why? Because it makes sure that people can be kept safe. We can make sure that in instances like the World Cup back in my district, or as Mr. Jimenez was talking about the summer games in Miami. I mean, to depend on the federal government, and the federal government is telling us, well, we can only help you some of the time, even when you have threats from ISIS, I mean, that's a huge problem. And it's one that we need to address not only here today, but moving forward. And Mr. Chairman, my time has expired, but thank you for continuing to bring this to light.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Crane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing today. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming today. I got an article right here, mystery drone spotted over New York, New Jersey, prompt calls for federal investigation. I believe this was Breitbart News. I want to start with you, Mr. Wheeler from the FBI. What can you tell us about what you guys do know?
So the public reports and what we have from eyewitness sightings, some of those very credible police personnel and others are what we describe as unidentified drones. We do not know the particular specifics of what those drones are. Some are described as being slightly larger than a commercial available drone. Fixed wing as well as rotary. We have helped analyze with our partners video and pictures of what those look like, what have been submitted. Part of that is these over 3,000 tips from the public, and to look at that. But as I previously stated, we don't know the people responsible behind that, and that's what we're working on.
Yeah. What did you say you guys were, the FBI was spending on counter drone?
My budget that would specifically include the technology that we use.
Is it 500,000?
500,000.
What? That doesn't seem nearly adequate. Why do you feel like there isn't a push within the FBI to keep up with modern warfare and modern threats?
So,
what is the budget for the FBI right now?
Roughly 11 billion.
Okay, why do you think as warfare changes, as you know, sir, warfare is changing drastically right now overseas, especially with Ukraine and Russia and the development of drone technology? Why isn't the FBI taking this threat more seriously? And that's obviously reflected by the budget that you guys have assigned to counter drone technology.
I have a limited capability that is embedded within our emerging threats unit for surveillance issues. That allocation of resources, that research, that operational deployment of our capability is what we have today. I would imagine that this would grow over time.
What do you think that some of these terrorist cells that might be in the country right now, or maybe even outside of our borders, what do you think that they're looking at when they see a hearing like this and they see that you guys still, after almost a month, don't know who these drones are? What do you think that they're thinking?
So I would be measured in how we speak about our capability and what our limitations and capacity is. However, I'll say to you that it's not as good as I wish it was, and we'll continue to work to make it better.
Yeah, well, when you're only spending $500,000 a year, it's probably not going to be very good, is it?
The only thing I would say about that is that this is an enterprise-wide problem. It's not just a technological problem. That most of that $11 billion budget for the FBI gets after threats to Americans, this being one of them. And the way we apply resources, personnel, operational, all of that to include technology to get after a threat that would threaten American lives. I don't think that $500,000 for the technology part of it adequately captures our commitment to protecting Americans.
I want to shift real quick because you guys have been talking about using electronic warfare to counter some of these drones. What about drones that aren't susceptible to counter warfare, like your fiber optic drones? What are you guys doing about those? I'll start with you, Mr. Jones.
So all options are on the table right now. We are exploring kinetic options.
You know,
complement the electronic.
You can buy those right now, and they're really not that expensive. You aware of that, Mr. Jones?
Where there's a lot of different technologies out there. We have experimented with some that have been very successful.
Yeah. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. The gentlelady from New York, Ms. Maliatakis, is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Pfluger. Thank you all for being here today. I just want to follow up on what my colleague asked regarding what happened in New York and New Jersey. These drones, unmanned aircrafts have also flown over my district. A number of constituents have seen them over a power plant in Brooklyn. They were coming over the Verrazano Bridge. And I will remind everyone or explain to everyone here that Verrazano Bridge connects Staten Island and Brooklyn, and on the Staten Island side you have Fort Wadsworth, which is a U.S. Coast Guard sector New York base, and then in the Brooklyn side, right on the other side of the Verrazano Bridge, you have Fort Hamilton, which is a U.S. Army installation. And so it's very concerning to me that we have these objects. We're not sure if they're drones or unmanned aircrafts, but they are flying over sensitive infrastructure and facilities. And the fact that we don't know what they are or who's behind them or what they're doing is very concerning to me, particularly in a post-Chinese spy balloon world. Okay, the fact that this administration allowed for a Chinese spy balloon to go across the country over multiple military installations is very concerning, and that we could potentially be having this happen again it's like astounding to me that this is even happening without any type of intervention. You say it's no known threat, but is there still a possibility of there being a threat? At the end of the day, that's what my constituents want to know.
Yes, I am cognizant, and we all are in the FBI, of what this threat can look like. Anyway, across the spectrum of sophisticated state actors, adversaries that want to hurt us, all the way through counterterrorism matters, cyber, ADMD, criminal, all the way down to a nuisance drone that could cause harm. So that's the wide spectrum that concerns me every day. I've just mentioned it concerns me that we don't know the answer to the question yet.
And are you working with the Pentagon, with FAA, with DHS, with your partners to try to identify this? Because I don't put it all on just the FBI. I think this is, what is Homeland Security doing? Do you have any idea?
I wouldn't speak for another department, but I will say that the way we do business is extremely collaborative and interagency, and especially with our state and local partners.
So who is taking the lead here on this particular issue, identify these drones and aircrafts?
Well, we have an investigation open predicated on the idea that there's unsafe operation in the airspace. It's a federal violation that we have some jurisdiction. But it would help us know sort of what lane this falls in when we know the people that are responsible and what this is all about, to your point earlier. And we're actively investigating and would like to answer those questions.
Yeah.
I don't have a better answer.
And what if they were carrying chemical weapons or something? We just don't, I mean, this could be a much worse conversation we could be having right now, because these things have been flying all over New York, New Jersey, over military installations. I don't know, I don't know what's going on there, but these agencies need to figure it out and try to get to the bottom of what's going on. I think it's very concerning. Is there a possibility, if hopefully it is not a threat, is it a possibility it would fall under this System Assessment and Validation of Emergency Responders program, the SAVER program? This is a program under Department of Homeland Security, Science and Technology, where they are testing various technology for search and rescue, disaster response, and it could be part of a law enforcement assessment. You think that's a possibility? Because my Army base doesn't know about it, my NYPD doesn't know about it, so I guess my question is, why wouldn't the local authorities know if this was part of a testing of security technologies for first responders?
I don't know that to be the case,
Okay.
and I couldn't really comment on that.
Okay, well, just again, I would love to speak to you offline at some point and maybe share some information with you. But I would really just urge if you could speak to your colleagues and counterparts in these other departments, and because we need to get to the bottom of what's going on here. And if it is something that is not nefarious and is one of part of these public safety applications that are being tested, they need to coordinate with the local authorities. So my guys in New York NYPD, they know that it's not a threat.
I would agree.
All right, thank you.
Gentlelady yields. This will be the last questioning from for the first panel. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Smith.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman, Chairman, both of you, for allowing me to sit in on this hearing. I've been in Congress 44 years, and I have lost track of the number of times when we seemingly did not adequately assess a threat. I had one of my service members from the Marines in the barracks in Lebanon when that terrible, horrible deed was committed by Iran. Actually, after we got hit in Dar es Salaam and in Nairobi in 1998 by Al-Qaeda, I chaired all the hearings. We had the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff come and testify as Admiral Crow. And they kept saying, everyone, no one thought that Al-Qaeda would hit there. Maybe in the Middle East, but not there. I wrote a bill called the Embassy Security Act. It was signed into law. I added it to an appropriations bill, big, thick bill, but it was all about setbacks and Mylar on the windows, a lot of good things. And it did mitigate, I think, some of the concerns there. But we always seem to miss something, and I'm very concerned that we're missing something here. I've raised the issue, as has my colleagues, Maliotakis and others in New Jersey and New York, about these drone sightings. So last night, I was on the beach in Island State Park in Ocean County with the sheriff. He has been working it every single night. He's got his own tethered drones chronicling. One of his officers 2 nights ago saw 50 drones come in off the ocean right there. So we thought maybe they'll replicate it. They didn't, but we thought it was a possibility. Last night, we had a number of other people here, including a commanding officer from the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water, followed right behind them. You know, and I said, what's the rules of engagement? I mean, you do it if you're fighting against a narco trafficker or something, and they said, we don't know, we don't have any. So I did reach out to the commanding officer at the Joint Base, which is also in my district, and talked to him, had a very good conversation, Colonel Anthony Smith, Joint Base Fort Dix McGuire, the 87th Air Wing, Air Base Wing today. And I said, I know you have the capability, you've put out press releases, to identify and bring down drones. Why can't you deploy them, at least to the ocean? Bring one of these down, find out who's doing it, They have the capability. They said we don't have the authority, only within the parameters of our base. Well, there's a national interest here. Our jets fly over the ocean all the time for training, so that perimeter is larger. So I did write Secretary Lloyd Austin asking that capability that may be sitting in a closet somewhere, I know they use it all the time, but bring it out, and I'm not saying you gotta share it with the sheriffs, it'd be nice, just do it yourself in the interest of the American public. So I would ask if you would echo that request. I mean, DOD's got the capability, or maybe Homeland Security does as well. When we had a Zoom meeting with Secretary Mayorkas, our governor put it together, and I appreciated that. But I asked them, why can't we just track where they go to? Seemingly they're going out to sea, to something, a ship. We don't know for sure. They come in off the ocean. So the question really is, can't we just get DOD to share? In my first term, DOD and VA did a great thing. The DOD-VA sharing agreement for healthcare capabilities. It was fantastic. Why can't the DOD share this with Homeland Security, with FBI and others, so that you can go out and find out who they are? Maybe it's China. I chair the China Commission, and I've had 115 hearings on it. I'm barred from going there now. China is, and I'm on their hit list. Xi Jinping is a monster. Look what Putin's doing. They're all capable of doing horrible things to our people, and now they're threatening my good friend and colleague from New York, and of course New Jersey, big time. So let's go get that DOD capability and find out, and put to rest the question, who is it? We can bring one down tomorrow. Thoughts?
Sir, I'd just say I share your concern. I share a lot of frustration, and I'm more than willing to continue working with the Department of Defense to try to get better.
Again, if they don't have the authority, they can do it on an emergency basis. Just send that capability out to the ocean, to the beach, because they're coming in every day. Figure out which one it is and bring them down. And then retrieve it and find out what's going on. And as my good friend Malliotakis, Congresswoman Malliotakis said, the thing with the balloon was mind-boggling. Over our bases, and we didn't see that was a threat. Well, this, I think, is a very serious threat. And so please, if you could, get DOD to share that capability. Maybe Homeland has it. I don't know. Maybe you have it somewhere. But I know DOD has it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen's time has expired. I thank the witnesses for your valuable testimony, for being here today, and for the members and the questions.
These innovations offer immense potential, like enabling faster damage assessments of energy infrastructure. They also empower malicious actors. Adversaries can use UAS to surveil facilities, deliver hazardous payloads, disrupt operations, and even conduct cyber intrusions. The Department of Homeland Security's 2025 Homeland Threat Assessments highlights UAS as a persistent and growing risk to critical infrastructure. This warning isn't hypothetical. Last month, federal agents arrested an individual planning to use a UAS to attack an electric substation. I hope we can proactively address the UAS threat before a significant incident occurs. Despite the pervasiveness of the threat, existing federal laws and regulations have not kept pace with the rapid proliferation of UAS technology. Current frameworks primarily address safety and airspace management, but lack robust provisions to counter malicious UAS activities. This leaves critical infrastructure companies vulnerable to increasingly sophisticated threats. To address these risks, we must modernize our defenses while balancing security measures with civil liberties. A comprehensive strategy that incorporates technology innovation, appropriate legal frameworks, and public-private collaboration
That will draw unwanted attention. I carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that.
How can I advise? Quickly.
I hear you. No need to rush. I'll unburden you. Warm nights.
The Third Pact speaks of this. I'm not supposed to be here.
How can I advise?
Need something? No need to rush. All right. Speak up.
On your mark, ready, set, let's go. In the middle. In the middle. Gotta get jiggy with it. In the middle.
Yes? Meeting them, I look at each of them. Somehow, she's the only one. Think carefully.
In the middle.
And shatter they shall.
Makakan. An outcast trove. An outcast trove. I am pleased. Quickly. An outcast trove. I am pleased. Think carefully. I will take this.
That would draw unwanted attention.
spend my money. Killer ants in Japan. bottom.
God, no. Fuck. Ball's right in my fucking face, dude. What are these guys? I'm getting stuck again like a dumb bitch. Uncut John. Oh, level 7 Uncut John. Do something with that. Oh yeah.
Freezing Mark makes an enemy more vulnerable to being frozen. If the enemy dies, they will explode with ice. Freezing Mark makes an enemy more vulnerable to being frozen. If the enemy dies, they will explode with ice. Freezing Mark makes an enemy more
criminals. Take a look behind the scenes. Corruption and greed is commonplace routine.
Frozen Lash!
There we go. Holy mother. This is a Annoying bitch. Oh boy. Time to brace the keyboard. Gotta brace this keyboard. It's a champ. It's surviving some slight rage here and there. It's all good. Before I do this fight, I guess I'm going to see.
Well, what is that, Mr. Romo?
Well, Dick, one thing that makes a pad different from an apartment is that every pad has a stash.
A stash.
You understand what I mean?
A stash.
You understand what I mean?
A stash.
You sit there and you dig it. And maybe you get up. And maybe you get up inside it. And maybe it reaches out and grabs you, and it's weird.
A stash.
I hear you. Browse as long as you like. I'll unburden you. War nights.
What? Do not wander.
Yes, I can wait. C'est là.
By the dreamer.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Dude, I'm falling off all over the map and shit. Fuck.
Fight the dreamer.
No, gay in the fucking ass.
Fight the dreamer.
there. Damn, dude. Oh, I'm so fucking dead. Fucking bastards, man. So close. Can't get hit much.
By the dreamer.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dude, no fucking way, no fucking way, no fucking way. Dude, how do I get out of that?
By the dreamer.
I see.
The dreamer has dared and succeeded. A living gem, a gift, and a prize. What have you learned?
This will
I do not want to go through this area again. I don't think I'm gonna. Oh man, dead end right here. I'm about to level up. Oh, I died. God fucking damn it. Not want to be through here, man. I don't need to do that. Oh, caravan right there. Oh no. Oh boy. I mean, I don't even need to do that. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. God fucking.
Stay still.
Where is this fucking relic, dude? Oh no, this is a dead end. Oh no. Yeah, fucking weird. Huh. This is gold right there. I don't know. Yeah, I've already done that. Waypoint's up here, right? Oh no, waypoint's over there. It's over here. Dead end. A dead end. Yep. Man, dropping gold.
no need to rush. I shall put this to use. Sands guide you. Speak up! Quickly! What is it?
Aspirations of an ancient civilization still resonate from this place.
The weary traveler has reached the end.
Oh.
Yes. Looked everywhere for that shit. Can't believe I needed to go there. Yes. Want 15% increased mana recovery from class. 30% increased charm charges gained. Is that it? Oh, I see. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Now, Keth.
What have you learned? Ah, Keth. Move swiftly.
Need something? Young one. Do not wander. Quickie. Welcome.
All right. Good run.